God bless my haters. God bless fake hoes. God bless these haters. Cause God only knows that. All I do is get it. 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 So God bless snake nigga.
And we are celebrating all the mothers and all the fathers that are acting like mothers.
Happy Mother's Day to everyone out there.
Happy Mother's Day to everyone. And I want to send a special shout out to all the people who have lost a mother that are, thugging it out through this day, because I know it does get hard for you guys. I am one of those people, so it's been a rough day. But happy Mother's Day to us to say. Excuse me. I am your host, Shirley Phillips, and we are at the comment section. We are missing our co-host today, who got lost in Brooklyn somewhere. We don't know where Matt is today, but
sending him our love. Yeah,
we sent him our love.
Hoping he's okay.
Hopefully he's okay. But we are here today, and we're going to be talking a little bit about this notion of blurred lines, and what that actually means for men and women. Because I know it comes up in conversation a lot with me and my girlfriends about, like, what does it mean to be a woman? What does it mean to be a man? What's acceptable for a man to wear? What's not acceptable for a woman to wear, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm curious to hear what Emmanuel has to say and what our guest actually has to say when he comes on today.
So you want to hear the gay perspective from
me? I didn't want to say it. I was trying to be politically correct.
It's okay. Let's call it what it is, right?
Let's get a gay perspective. My gay bestie.
So what's going on with you, Shirley? How's everything?
Everything is everything. I think we're down to like 29 more days of school.
And I cannot wait. It's been such a rough year. I'm just looking forward to the end, right?
It's almost there. It's been a rough year. It's just long and tedious, and the kids are over it. Teachers are over it.
Everybody's over it.
But I'm actually surprised that we haven't had as many fights as we normally have towards the end of the year.
Oh, same. I think we've had a few, but usually the springtime brings about a lot of fighting. Maybe because the weather hasn't been that great. I
was just about to say, maybe because it hasn't been as warm as it normally is. The kids are still kind of calm, but usually we're in like high alert in like May and June for fights. So,
oh yeah.
So Absolutely. Far so good, but Absolutely. I'm a little bit in my feelings right now. I'm feeling extra poor today because I just found out Drake purchased a $185 million cargo plane. And
that's crazy.
I'm hating right now.
That's crazy. It's gotten to the point where with these celebrities where they just purchase.
They just for no
out
reason.
Of impulse, right?
It's out of impulse.
They have so much money. They don't know what to do with it.
They don't know what to do with it. And I'm like, you work hard, you earn it, you do what you want to do with your money. But it's like that money that you just spent on a plane, sir, that could have like changed so many lives.
That money that he spent on the plane makes me reconsider my life and like what it is that I'm doing, how I'm making my money. It's really ridiculous. But like you said, it's his money, whatever. Do whatever you want with it.
Do what you want to do with it. But I wanted to talk also about like this whole Met Gala.
Oh my God, the Met Gala, yes. So this Met Gala in particular is my favorite in terms of theme, in terms of the fashion. Mm-hmm. I think it was easier to understand the concept. Every year has a different theme. This year was camp, and some people have no idea what that is. It just basically means, dress like a drag queen on the red carpet.
When they say camp, I'm like, how come nobody has like tits and stuff? I didn't know.
The common folk will think that it is, a camping kind of theme, but it has nothing to do with that. Camp has been around for as long as I can remember, even, from like the 50s.
Really?
Drag queens have been doing camp. That's always been their thing because they emulate big celebrities from Hollywood, and they do it in an exaggerated level. So if you think back to a Marilyn Monroe, if you see a drag queen that's emulating Marilyn Monroe, she's exaggerated as hell.
Wow.
So that's what camp is, an exaggeration and something that may not be seemingly fashionable, but that is the point of it.
And just being extra.
So extra is the perfect definition of what camp is. Who were your favorites of the night? I have my top choices, but I want to know what you think.
I loved Zendaya.
Zendaya was amazing.
I didn't like the hate that she got, though. I believe it was Lindsay Lohan who tends to hate a lot.
I mean, Lindsay Lohan, like what do you expect anything better from her?
That's what she does, but she's like, oh my God,
she's a hater.
Been done already, and I'm like, It was cute.
Our theme song is dedicated to Lindsay Lohan, by the way,
Exactly. God
because she
bless
is
our
a
haters.
yeah. God bless our haters.
And your mom was a hater too, because she was hating on Tamar in the Big Brother.
Oh, let's not talk about Big Brother, but yeah, Zendaya was definitely one of my top favorites. I love the whole Cinderella theme. I love the like technology aspect of her outfit. You know, like the whole like
It took work,
production
took
of it.
effort.
Yeah, it looks like it took a long time to produce,
It took
and
effort.
she definitely gets one of the top honors for best dressed. I also personally loved Lady Gaga's.
Yes.
It took her 17 minutes to unveil.
To unveil.
17 minutes, and she was so in the character that you can't deny that she
Unveil.
put a lot of thought into it, and her team did an amazing job with these 5 looks that they brought to the
Was
red
it 5?
carpet. It was 5 because she ended up in the lingerie.
Got it.
And then she whipped out that 1990 cell phone, and she was on the phone. She was an executive from like one of these fashion houses. You know, she was doing her
Work,
thing.
ma'am.
So Lady Gaga definitely gets another top
appreciate
honor.
work. I appreciate work. I don't know.
What'd you think of Kim K?
I was just about to say, I don't know how I felt about Kim K. I'm not a Kardashian fan. However, I do respect the hustle. I respect that she's on her grind, and you know she's
Agreed.
always coming up with ways to make coins. So I appreciate that, but I'm just not a fan.
It took. So they cinched her waist to make it 18 inches.
She wore a corset, like an old-fashioned corset.
That is out of control
and painful.
and painful. I can't. She's supposedly she didn't go to the bathroom for like 6 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
It's pain. I just a regular waist trainer. I've worn waist trainers before, you know, just to slim down. Those are painful and they're hot.
I can only imagine.
So I can't imagine cinching your waist to that extent. But it just looks.
I'm sure she was sweating, but it was okay because I was a part of the whole wet look. So the more she sweats, the better
It
the
added
look.
to the look.
She had to pull it off that way.
What about Kanye though?
I mean, no comment.
Kanye's Kanye.
Kanye's Kanye. Her sisters though, Kylie and Kendall. I thought they looked really great.
I did. I mean, I did. I liked it. Someone said they looked like the ugly stepsisters though, to Zendaya, Cinderella.
So she should have walked. They should have walked in with Zendaya.
Should've walked behind.
Zendaya should have had them walking in with her.
I actually liked it. I liked the color.
I also surprisingly really liked Celine Dion's look.
I did too. I did too.
It was so classic and very uncharacteristic of her because she's just, you know, Celine Dion. She's not camp.
She's not.
By definition, she is not extra.
Like
She's
white
just
bread.
very basic, right?
agree.
Her voice
I
is
agree.
phenomenal, but in terms of fashion, she's not known for being fashion forward
No,
at all.
not
So
at all.
I give her a lot of kudos for it.
What's the guy with the whole like Rising Phoenix Egypt thing? I can never remember this man's name. He always comes to slay.
Oh my God.
What is his name? I can't
He
remember
is
his man's name.
the
Jesus.
right. He's the not Jesus, but
It's not Jesus.
he's the one of the characters on Pose. Billy Porter.
Billy Porter. Yes.
Billy Porter is his name. Yeah, he also did a fabulous job, and I think that he was the topic of conversation during the Met Gala, like
Right.
afterwards. Like people were definitely talking about him.
About it. I mean, like I said, I appreciate effort. I like people.
Yeah.
I don't care if you spend $1 gazillion on your dress or you know your outfit.
Because most
Just put
people
the
would
effort.
talk about women, right? And they don't mention any of the
They
men
don't mention the men.
because the men didn't really go all out. Not even RuPaul.
But why though?
And this is his wheelhouse. If you think about it, RuPaul should have been there by definition of who he is as a
Yeah,
performer and
yeah.
drag queen. He should have been
Because he brought it to light. Like he made
He
drag,
made
to
it
me, He
relevant.
made drag queens.
He made it relevant.
relevant and
This was his baby, and he should have, I feel like, put more effort into it. But I guess it's by definition of who he is, right?
yeah.
He's already camp, so why does he have to even emphasize
Camp
it?
every day.
Yeah, I'm camp every day. Watch my show, and you'll
Watch
see
my
camp.
show.
Exactly.
I love
What
RuPaul.
about I think her name is Lena Waithe. She's a actress, director, big LGBT activist. She wore that very like zoot suit kind of pinstriped with the writing on the back that said Black drag queens inventing
and they spelled it wrong.
drag, but it was purposeful.
purposely,
It was
on
very
purpose.
intentional. Yeah, it goes back to this African American vernacular English, and people were making fun of
They
her.
were making fun of it, like oh.
They thought that it was a mistake, and it was so intentional. And the people that didn't get it,
I was one of
it wasn't for
I didn't
you.
get it at
It wasn't for you,
wasn't for me.
but it's for you now because you got it.
Because I understand now.
Something beautiful about that outfit also was that the pinstripes on her suit were actually lyrics to LGBT anthems.
I didn't know that.
Like "I Will Survive,"
I didn't know that.
Sylvester's "You Make Me Feel."
Really?
A song from Rent was on
Now I
there.
gotta
It
go
was
back and look.
beautifully done, little tiny words written all
And the
along the
men were wearing
pinstripes.
these suits too.
So she brought her +1, and he was also wearing the
He was
suit
wearing the suits
as well. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
So the Met Gala overall, I'm usually very shocked by the fashions, but this one was no stranger to shocking outfits and just, I think the theme tied it all together and made it a lot more
But like you
accessible.
said, it's very feminine heavy and women heavy, and I just want to know why is that? And that again goes back to our topic today: is why are men so
Afraid.
reserved and afraid to like go outside the box and do something just for the
Yep.
sake of fashion? Even if that's not in your heart, but just for the sake of fashion. Why is that still so taboo in 2019?
It's so, yeah.
And women, all women are still offended by men who dress quote unquote feminine.
Agreed.
And I need to know why.
Our society tells us, it's like social standards. You have to stick to a box. If you're anywhere outside of that box, it just doesn't make sense for you. So it goes back to what society is telling us that is okay for us to do based on our gender and our role.
But it's really like it's hypocritical to me because on the one hand, and I'm speaking from the perspective of a woman, you want gender roles. You want the man to open the door. You want him to pull out the chair. You want him to go to work and and do all these things that quote unquote men are supposed to do. But when he does the same and has that expectation of us, sometimes it's like, oh, well, you can't tell me what to do. Women's lib. I don't have to cook. I don't have to clean. I don't have to. But it's like, which is it?
I don't think we can have both.
What do you want? It's like it's one or the other.
It's one or the other.
So I'm actually a proponent of gender roles. I am.
Yeah, I'm personally not, but it's like there are times when I feel like it's okay for it to happen. Like, chivalry should still be a thing. But
it should. I just feel like
if we want to have a more progressive society, I don't know that they can coexist.
Just the way that we're made up. Like, women are highly emotional creatures. And I just think that nature, nurture, I think that there's something to be said about that. Not that a man can't be that way, but I just think that innately men are a certain way and women are a certain way. Like,
what about in homosexual relationships or same-sex relationships? Should we still stick to those?
Men, I still think those are two men, and I still think that certain things they instinctively react as a man would.
So we should both hold the door for each other, so nobody goes through because you're both holding the door for the other. So like, who's gonna go?
Maybe in that instance, it could be interchangeable. I don't know.
So I usually just fall back and allow for my boyfriend to hold the door, and I walk on through.
What I love about him, I love the fact that he refers to you as beautiful. I think that's the sweetest thing ever, because what is beauty? And who decides that a term is just for one particular gender?
And he does not care who's around. Like,
he
he'll
doesn't
say
care.
He
like
will
one
say
time we were at brunch and he was like, "Hey, beautiful," and we were like, "Hey." He was like, "Oh, I was talking to you." We were like, "Oh, okay."
Just naturally, girls always think, and
They're
even
always thinking.
when he's around, like any of my friends that are women, he'll say "beautiful," referring to me, and they always assume that he's talking to them.
Can you teach a class on how to be? Because these men, y'all need help. I'm sorry. They need help. There's a lot of women out here that are they're over it. They're lonely. They're bitter. And we don't know what to do because it's like it's getting worse and worse. This culture of just non-committal men that don't know how to treat a woman, that don't know how to be, I hate to say it, but how to be like that alpha male. There's a lack. And I don't know. So hopefully we can have some of those conversations today. But again, you are watching the comment section. If you have a question, comment, you can reach out to us on our Facebook, or you may give us a call at 347-640-3920.
We appreciate any commentary. I mean, we're here to comment, but we get, a lot of our questions, and we want to hear from people listening to us.
I actually did have someone DM me about Mother's Day and how it should be like for everybody that's taking the role of a mother, not just women. Like there are men that are actually the mom that are taking care of their kids, or single fathers.
So true.
And they're like, what about them? Why can't they be recognized on Mother's Day?
So true. But it goes back to this idea of like social roles and standards, right?
Yeah. Or stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, I think because women traditionally take the role of that mother figure, because there are a lot of single mothers out there, is just a day to honor them and all the work that they do.
And that's it. That give birth.
Yeah, because that in and of itself, that's so much already, and then many of them just sacrifice their whole lives for their children.
They do. They do. I was actually, when I went to Africa to visit my dad, we were talking about how my mom basically gave up her entire life. Like, she was going to the Navy, and she got pregnant. She had to be pregnant in the Navy, so she just
got discharged.
Yeah, she just gave up that, like, no, I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. And, you know, he was actually on his way to study in Paris. That's not happening when you have a baby to take care of. So, you know, it was a lot that both parents have to sacrifice for the children. So whoever you are, if you're a stay-at-home dad,
shout out to the moms, to the dads,
aunties.
Shout out to everyone. Shout out to just everyone who's doing the damn thing.
That have taken on the role of
foster
mom,
parents.
Foster,
I mean, you have so
listen,
many, you know.
It's hard out here.
It's no
hard.
longer that nuclear family. It's become so blended, and there are so many parent figures out there. Even us as teachers, we need a shout out too.
Oh
where are my flowers?
Teachers.
I didn't get no flowers, no card on Mother's Day.
I got like 3 handmade cards.
That's cute.
But they were forced. They forced the kids because they're you know, they were like over it. The kids are so just ungrateful this year. I don't know what's happening, but the teachers were just like, no, you guys are gonna sit down and you're gonna pick 2 or 3 teachers and you're gonna write some thank you cards. So it was sweet. You know, they put some.
You
really
probably got
meaningful
those because
messages.
it was Teacher Appreciation Week. I got a few of them too.
Yeah.
I got a few of them from the toughest students, the ones that I think don't listen to me, the ones that I think hate me so much. They're the ones that wrote me the cards. Yeah.
I love you, but it's a lot. I mean, I'm raising people's kids.
So shout out to us because that's what we do daily. Like, we no longer teach; we're out here raising people's children.
Literally raising people's children, teaching them life skills, teaching them etiquette, teaching them.
So you're welcome, everyone out there who just drop off the kids at school and just want the teachers to raise them. You are very welcome. Anyway, Shirley, what do we have for the rest of the show?
For the rest of the show, we actually have joining us, and I'm really excited because I've been harassing Emmanuel for months now. We have the reigning Mr. United States 2019 coming to chat with us in the next segment. And I just want to pick his brain because I know that with this title, he has experienced a lot of adversity, being in a male pageant, just as you have.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people have never even heard of such a thing. Like, when I talk to my guy friends about it, they're just like, how does that work? Like, how does it, is there a swimsuit competition? Like, how does it work? You know, the male, what are they judged on? And I'm like, they're judged on the same criteria as women. Yeah. Actually, probably harder because, you know, you guys have to probably constantly defend yourself, I would imagine.
Right.
With this title. And I think the assumption, too, is that anyone that wins must be gay. Which is not true. Not true.
And we'll get to hear that more from Kereem Vargas, who is here, and I'm so excited to have him as his fellow pageant brother.
Yes. Fraternity.
Right, pageant fraternity.
But we will be right back with the comment.
Eternal bliss, my love, my truth, my goddess. Speak
hoping to think a little more when the sun fades and the clouds they pour. And I don't know why I just happen to stay awake at night when it's cold out and the bugs they bite and the creatures that I hear while they whisper in my ear. All the good things becoming clear, and I start to contemplate all the stuff that's in my way. How to choose which battles to lose. I'm afraid rather than wondering where I'm maybe over there, getting my I don't know why I like to pull the leaves off the trees when I'm walking down the empty street. And I don't know why I like to go dancing in the rain, but I feel like it keeps me sane. And I know I like to write, 'cause I feel as though it might help me sleep through the whole night. But hey, that's not the only way gonna make
And we are back with the comment section, and I'm really excited. I'm almost kind of starstruck a little
I'm
bit.
excited too.
Stop it.
We are here with Mr. Kereem Vargas, who is the reigning Mr. United States 2019.
It's nice to have you, Kereem.
Nice to have
Welcome
you.
to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Dapper. He's got his sash. We're missing the crown though. What happened to the crown?
I actually do have the crown.
You do have it? Oh shoot. Okay. We'll come back.
I didn't want to hold it the whole time. So.
You want to hold it. So tell us what's been going on. Like what has it been like so far? Just
Well, it has been an amazing ride so far. You know,
Okay.
like I won the national title in August
In
of
August.
2018, and since then, you know, like the fan base, you know, the internet, the social media buzz, you know, my family, not even knowing what I've been through, like they didn't even know that I was going through this journey
Really?
for Miss United States. So then I just hit them with this, like, hey, yeah, check out this YouTube video.
wait, they didn't know you were applying.
They didn't know, no.
A
You
lot
showed
of
up with a crown.
yeah, so a lot of pageant contestants, right? That's common of them. They participate in so many pageants that a lot of times they don't even tell their families.
Really?
Yeah.
So this was your first pageant?
This was my second consecutive year with the Mr. United States organization.
So you were Mr. New York 2 years in a row.
Absolutely, Mr. New York.
I didn't know this existed. I'm so excited right now. Because I can promote this to my children.
Appreciate
of course.
that. Absolutely, yes. We'd love to get
It's
this.
not just for girls anymore. So tell us a little bit about what it is you do outside of being Miss United States. Like what do you do to pay the rent?
Whew. Okay. Well, you know, the moneymaker is my engineering degree.
Okay.
I utilize that. I'm a full-time engineer for the past 12 years.
Wow.
And yeah, I started out in California. So 2 weeks after I graduated from Stony Brook University, I flew out to California on a limb. Like I had nothing with me, no family.
Dollar in a dream.
Exactly, dollar in the dream. I was like, you know what? They accepted me in California.
Wow.
I was either Kentucky or
Okay.
California. And I was like, I'm going to California.
Yeah.
Most people would choose California.
I would choose California.
Yeah.
My family
Even
is
though,
from Kentucky,
yeah.
so
Kentucky's not that bad, but California sounds like a better
Absolutely.
better
I would say
deal.
so. I would say so.
Yeah, I had those two offers, and I picked California because, you know, it's comparable to a New York.
And you're a New York boy, right? You're from
Absolutely.
Brooklyn.
Oh, you're born and raised in New York.
Born and raised, Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn?
Tell us what that was like growing up, Kereem. What was
Oh.
Brooklyn like for you?
Oh my gosh. You know, I don't want to really date myself, but you know, back in the days when I was growing up in Brooklyn, in Bushwick, in New York, it was pretty bad. You know, like I lived in a very, let's say, underdeveloped neighborhood. Yes.
It hadn't been gentrified at that point in the way that it is
No,
now, right?
Not at all. Not even close. You know, we had crack houses right next door to us. We had crack pipes where we were playing. You know, like it was possible for us to even step on them and them to puncture us to our feet. Yeah, it was really serious. Shootings. My mom having us duck when we hear gunshots.
Gunshots, yeah.
Turning the lights off. And like that's what we had to go through as kids. It was
So
very
what did that
difficult.
do for you? Like now that you're, a man with a career and a national title, how does that propel you to help communities that are going through that similar experience?
Absolutely. Well, basically, I was on the street like 10 hours a day just hanging out, and it wasn't the environment to do such a thing.
Yeah.
So what I would like to do to, not let the next generation follow in my footsteps is to keep them off the street. And that's what my platform is all about. I'm working together with the YMCA of Greater New York in the North Brooklyn facility, and we're trying to keep kids off the street with these positive programs that incorporate education, physical fitness, creative abilities.
It's so needed.
We need it.
I watch it when we are done for the day. They don't go home. They
No.
literally just lurk around the building. They're in front of the corner store. A lot of them, the streets is actually better than going home because there's so much going on in these houses.
Yeah.
And there's just not enough programs and activities for these kids that don't have money for these expensive after-school programs and dance and music. And,
I agree.
I love that platform.
You would think, right? Like, especially in 2019, you would think that there are a lot of programs out there that kids can participate in so that they are off the streets, but there aren't. There are, but there aren't.
Or they
Right.
end. They end at 5 o'clock.
Or they end at 5, right? And a lot of those programs are also funded through like their own grants, and
Yep. They don't have a
it's
ton of
it's
money.
hard to keep a program alive, right? So Kareem, like I want to go back to the pageant experience. So I'm your pageant brother.
Yes, you are.
I was
Yeah.
Mr. United States a year before Kareem, so I got the honor of crowning you in New Orleans last August. So what was your pageant preparation like?
Well, first, I would like to say that I definitely appreciate you, knowing that we both went to the casting in New York
We
together.
did the first year.
So, yeah, we go way back, Yeah, Draco. You're my boy. But, yeah, we went through the casting process together, New York, and then you came up as Mr. New Jersey, and we were able to compete together.
Yeah.
And then you actually made it to the finals and semifinals and all. And
I remember you backstage the first year that I competed, the year that, 2017. 2 years ago almost. I remember Kareem, like, I was a nervous wreck. Do you remember?
Oh my gosh, you just took me back to that moment. It was the
And Kareem was like, you got this. You were pep talking me. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm a mess. I'm about to cry. I
No,
can't do
looked
the
into
final
your eyes
question.
And I saw you this entire journey. Like, I know what you're capable
Got
of.
it.
You made it this far, and you actually had the potential to take the title. So
Yeah.
I knew that you was going to do amazing, and you did.
Thank
So,
you,
like, how
Kareem.
many
Thank you.
contestants overall go for this title? Like, how many compete?
Well, we have multiple contestants from each city, and they basically, find the location where we have in our casting in, and we're looking to get individuals from every single city of the United States so that we can represent all states within the nation.
states.
Yeah.
Is there like a teen component? Like,
There is a teen pageant, yeah.
Teen pageant.
So the pageant is still growing. Like, it's still in its 4th year now, 3rd year. So it's expanding, and we are always looking for teens.
So dope.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what would you say has been like the hardest thing that you've had to deal with as Mr. United States?
The most difficult thing would be time management, being that I have so many things that I do. Like, I not only do I do engineering as a full-time job, but I also do modeling, and I also do acting. I have multiple films that I'm in, I have multiple scripts that I have to learn. I'm in web series. I have like 5 episodes
Oh my
right
gosh.
now that I have to memorize and, actually nail so that I could go in and do the filming. I have other films that I'm working on. I have 2 beautiful daughters at home.
Yeah, Kareem is the man. Like, I don't know how he balances everything, right? Because he just does it so gracefully.
Oh
And
my
I've never heard this man complain about all the stuff
And
that he
you're
has
so
to do.
like calm and thoughtful. I love it.
Always
Who's your
so
birthday?
calm.
No, I gotta know your zodiac sign.
Don't hate me, guys. August 19th. I'm a Leo.
You're
I'm a
Leo.
I'm a Leo.
Oh,
Don't hate me.
Our producer's a Leo. No, they're very goal-driven people. So if anybody can do it, a Leo can do it. They know
Beautiful.
how to make it happen. Unlike Pisces. I'm all over the place.
Libra
Libras
all
are
the
calm,
way.
though. Libras-
Libras are so
Pisces,
calm.
okay, what day?
I am March the 5th.
March 5th.
March
Oh, okay. Happy belated.
Thank you.
Happy belated, right?
Thank you. So, question: what advice would you give? I know this sounds like a really cliche, corny question, but it's a real question. What advice would you give to a young man who is still in these streets of Brooklyn, Bronx, Harlem, not really having direction? How do they get out of that?
Well, I would definitely tell them to, understand that it is possible to make it. For instance, when I was growing up, I didn't even know, like, watching NBA plays, watching professional sports, watching TV and seeing all these professionals, I didn't know that it was possible for me to be one of them. I didn't know that. So me, I would definitely let them know that this could be attainable, and don't give up. You have dreams, you have aspirations, you have to get rid of the negativity in your life and start hanging around with more positive people.
Most of the programs that you see, these are women. And I can just imagine as a young man, I wouldn't want to keep hearing these messages from women. I want to see men and boys that look like me that are out here doing things. So that's why I really respect what both of you do, because it's so needed. And last question, then I'll let Emmanuel take over. Is there any way that you can come inside the schools? Do you think that would be something you could fit into your business?
Ooh, Kereem, that sounds like
Because we can make that happen.
we can definitely make it happen.
That is a challenge for me, and I would love to take that on. Because I'm working on my, public speaking and
Kereem,
putting
you're
my presence out
perfectly
Exactly.
fine.
there. I appreciate you guys. Yeah.
But we
I would
definitely
love
need
to.
that.
I would love to.
What would you say to like smaller kids who may not understand the concept, right? Because like a lot of the messages that we give out there to the youth, they're for like the messages are usually for kids that are older that kind of understand what you're talking about. So I teach high school, so it's easier for me to connect with my students. But when you teach elementary school and you see kids already heading in the direction that they shouldn't be heading in, like what would you say to those little kids?
First, you'll find out what they would like to be when they grow up. And then you actually show them the path that they're leading towards and show them it's actually a different direction.
Yeah.
So if they're really serious about being what they want to be, then they're going to have to do a change now or else it's going to be too late. You have to reality check
No, it should happen when they're in elementary school.
Get them now, because typically you don't, especially by the time you're in 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade, you pretty much develop who you are in terms of aspirations. So they're like at a fork in the road. So they can be pushed either way. So I just feel like the earlier the better, especially with our boys, who already developed some pretty disturbing ideals about what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman.
Going back to that whole blurred
I
lines
was gonna
thing,
say, going
right?
back to the whole idea of blurred lines, I can just say, or I can see a lot of my students saying, oh, I don't want to be in a pageant, that's for girls. I don't want to do that. No, that's chicks. Or he must be gay. And that's what we were talking about earlier.
Right.
It's not about your sexuality. You don't have to be, a certain type of way to.
Not at all.
Kareem, have you faced any challenges when it comes to like people not understanding what this pageant world is like for a man?
Well, many people do ask, what is the Miss United States organization? And they say, oh, I never heard of this. I only heard about the women. I didn't know guys do it. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Not only do guys do it, but it's frequently done by many different organizations. And we're not the only one,
No.
So you need to come out from that rock that you're hiding under.
And like venture out there, right? And
Yeah.
even like the pageant, the Mr. United States pageant, a lot of the contestants are gay, but we also have our fair share of straight men
Absolutely.
that compete, you
Even
know?
just in modeling, tons of straight
It's the
men that
same
model.
thing.
Like, it's
Even
the same
like
thing.
artists, designers, like you're gonna encounter homosexuality, So it's not uncommon to see straight men in the male pageant world. And the really interesting thing about it is that throughout the competition experience, like you see a lot of these men grow close to each other. Can you tell us a little more about that, Kereem?
Yeah, definitely. First, your first point about having a mix of personalities in the pageant, we actually promote masculinity. So regardless of what your preference is, the pageant world is about masculinity and how you represent the man. You can still have your own personality outside of the pageant, but when you're representing the organization, we like to promote masculinity across the board.
And excellent. which has nothing to do with your sexuality.
Professionalism and
Exactly.
excellence, yes.
Like I was a gay title holder, you know, but I lived up to this like standard of masculinity because I'm masculine in my own way,
Absolutely.
and the organization was looking to showcase that. I was obviously openly gay, while I was a title holder. So it's all about going back to that point, right? Like, why does society have to like categorize us? Why does society continue to like take away a part of our identity to fit another? So I'm really glad that you're having an amazing year as Mr. United States. Kareem, like, what's gonna happen with you next?
Yeah, what are some things that you guys have coming?
Well, I'm currently working on my documentary.
Oh.
I just produced a fashion show with my partner, designer, Mr. Sandro Giuliani, and we did an amazing show. This was on March 8th. We had a lot of people come out. We had fashion magazines come and write articles. A lot of people in attendance. We had BronxNet come and film. We have our article in their website and on YouTube, and we're going to incorporate the film footage from there, along with my pageant experience, along with Mr. Giuliani's fashion shows, and incorporate all of that into a dual documentary. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Awesome. You mentioned
That's
BronxNet.
awesome.
We actually are part of BronxNet. So that
Beautiful.
worked out. Hey.
Keep it in the family.
Family, baby.
Family. That is awesome. So I don't know. I just feel like, do you think society is purposely like making male pageants obscure? Like they're kind of hating on y'all a little bit?
Yeah, I think so
'Cause I've
because
never heard of it.
so the only male pageants that are really out there are the ones that are for homosexual men. So like if you think of a national pageant like the continental system, right? It doesn't recruit straight men. That
It doesn't.
pageant, like, you need to be a performer, and if they were to open up, right, to a different population of the men that they're used to recruiting, they will probably see that their pageant will grow tremendously.
I agree.
You know, but they're looking for the gay man, and a lot of these pageants are looking for gay men. I think recently, within the last 5 years, you're seeing the birth of a lot of national pageants that don't have a sexual orientation preference when it comes to
then my next
competitors.
question is there in existence like a co-ed pageant where there's men and women competing? Yep.
In my experience, I've seen them. They're
Seen
out
them
there.
before?
Yeah, they're out there.
I
But
haven't
like
experienced
once you're Mr. United States, though, like what pageant do you do next? You know.
You took the words out of my mouth.
And there's no like Mr. Universe. There are like
There isn't?
international pageants, yeah, but
Are you sure?
there are,
There's
but
no
no
Mr.
Mr. Universe.
Wow. So then that's something that you can create. There's work to be done here.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Hey,
Yay.
I like the way you think.
Oh, Miss Shirley is a business-minded
see.
woman.
I see. Uh-oh.
She's a
Uh-oh.
hustler.
Nobody hustles like Nigerians and Jamaicans.
She's
And
a
Mexicans.
hustler.
Wow,
Yes.
Jamaicans.
We need to start a club.
That's
We need to
hilarious.
start a club. This is exciting, though. This is
Yes.
exciting. So, what led you to like modeling and pageantry? Like, what put that light bulb in your head, or who put that light bulb in your head?
Okay, so back in Stony Brook, way back in the days, we used to have our fashion shows. We used to have Caribbean Student Organization. We used to have our African Student Union. We used to have Black Women's Week, and so many different organizations created by the students. And they used to hold fashion shows. And me in my freshman year, I was just like a total introvert. I was to myself,
No
just
way.
to class and back.
I mean, you were an engineering major, so you had to
Absolutely.
be, right?
So I had to be focused, And now
Exactly.
doing all these extracurricular activities, and plus I ran track all my life in high school and college. So, it was really difficult to do these extra activities. But they had a fashion show, and I just threw myself in. I was just like, let me go to the casting. Let's see what happens. I walked, and then they liked me. And not only that, but during the show, I got such positive feedback from the crowd, like instantaneous.
Absolutely.
And I was just like, ooh,
I like this. I want to do it again.
I like this. And then I went from doing that one fashion show to doing like 4 per year. And then I was like, okay, I'm doing 4 in the school per year. I think I could continue doing this. But at the end of my college career, I had to make a decision. What do I want to do? Do I want to pursue fashion, or do I want to pursue engineering? And of course, I put fashion on the back burner. And I went full force, full steam ahead, like I told you before. Flew out to California, 12 years of engineering. Boom, I was like, all right, got my foundation done. I got my house, got my kids. I'm ready to break back into the industry. And that's what I do.
Awesome.
How much longer do you think you're going to be involved in modeling and in acting?
Well, what I would love to do is become like, an A-lister movie star. So I want to have acting for the long run. That's my ultimate goal.
And there's no expiration date when
There's
you're
no
an actor.
expiration date.
Exactly.
We received that. We claim that.
Yep.
Exactly.
And black don't crack,
Black
so
don't crack.
you're good to go, sir.
You know what this reminds me of? I remember when I was in undergrad at University of Michigan, we used to have these mail auctions
Oh my God.
where we were literally auction men on. This is before OkCupid.
How
and
terrible
Tinder.
is
We would
that?
auction them off for dates.
Oh Lord.
So they would have to parade. Do you remember
Yes,
those?
yes.
I've
absolutely.
been in a
dating
few of
ourselves.
those.
And the girls would bid on these guys.
Yep. There's those are still out.
They
Those
still do
auctions
that?
are still out there. Yeah.
But they did like a whole calendar.
I did mine at Rutgers, and I was auctioned off for like I wasn't in the calendar. I was auctioned off for like $20.
I can't. Oh my God.
But it was all for charity, so I didn't care. I was like, whatever.
But we looked
$20.
forward to them. I think it was put on by the Kappa Alpha Psi.
The fraternity, right?
Okay, yeah.
But it was
Awesome.
like a hit. And they did the calendar. They had and a lot of those guys ended up doing like modeling because they were nice looking guys and they were tall, statuesque. So I feel that. We need to bring that back.
We need to bring that back. People would be so against that.
Teachers.
A teacher's spread.
Department of Education calendar.
Hey,
Manuel.
That's an awesome theme right there. That's an awesome theme.
Listen here. We gotta do what we gotta do. in
I
these
know,
streets. We need
because
money.
teaching ain't cutting it.
Teaching isn't cutting it anymore.
We need
And
an
like most
extra
people
source of
have-
income. We do.
Hey, y'all
We
got
do.
the whole summer off. Y'all could be doing a whole totally different career.
Oh, but
I
that's
don't get the
unnecessary.
summer off. I still need to
You
work.
don't?
Still on the slave ship. No.
I still need to work in the summer.
Charter school.
I know.
Oh, okay.
But that's an awesome idea. So, I don't know. So, 10 years from now,
Huh.
where are you going to be? 5 years. 10 years is a long time.
5 years. All right. So 5 years, I'll be on to my next property. I will be finished with my documentary, and of course, looking to be with B-list, A-list movie stars in a movie that is a blockbuster. My kids will definitely be and continue what they're doing right now, which are straight A students.
Awesome.
They both were star
Amazing.
students in the entire school, so
Awesome.
number one. And my daughter is 8, my other is 12, and they both were number one in their school, respectively.
Awesome.
That's
I
beautiful,
love
Kereem.
it.
So, I just want to continue excellence throughout the family, and I want to, with my community service, my platform, I would love that to grow as well, and, create more buzz for the organization as a whole with my name.
Your name. And so it's so good.
Yeah, you're leaving behind a really great legacy. The men that have come before you have tried to do the same thing. They've lived a really honorable title, and the ones that come after you are gonna have to fit some big shoes. I mean, big shoes, because you're
Literally and figuratively.
literally and figuratively. So we'll see what happens next with them and the organization. But I'm really happy to have you here, and I'm excited to see what else is in store from you, Kereem.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Any parting words for people watching and young kids, young boys that may be looking up to you?
Absolutely. I just would like you guys to know that, the opportunity is out here, is right in front of your face. You can go to MrUnitedStates.org, find out any additional information you would like to know about the organization, about the upcoming pageants. You can help out with community service in your community. Just do something positive, like every single day, try to do one good deed. And that'll bring you so much further in life.
Amen.
Amen to that.
Well, we are out of time. And as you can reach us on our Facebook page, which is the comment section. You can reach us on Instagram, which is NY comment section.
We're taking a
And,
break, Shirley.
We'll be right back.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Tell me, what would you do? What would you do for love? What would you do for love? What would you do for love? path, crossing that line. Would you walk in the eye of the storm? Or would you take up on behind that wall? Tell me what would you do? What would you do for love? What would you do for love? What would you do for love, for love, for love? What would you do for love? What would you do for love? What would you do for love, for love, for love? What would you do? Would you roll the dice and make that sacrifice? Would you walk through fire, knowing the end would be dire, so that they could have a better life? Tell me what would you do? Some say I would never do those things, but you never know what you do in the name of love. In the name of love, I'll tell you what I do. I'll tell you what I do. I'll do anything. I'll do anything. I'll do anything for love. I'll do anything for
And we are back.
We did not leave.
What had happened was our guest had to go. And so I got a little confused. 'cause
We
I'm
did
43, so sometimes I get my times and stuff mixed up. But we still have a few more minutes left in the comment section. And there's one more area that I wanted to touch on. Because as I was explaining to Emmanuel, I have a lot of male friends, a lot of platonic male friends, and they tell me things. And one of the consistent complaints that I get from a lot of men that I'm friends with is that a lot of women, a lot of like, how do I say this, modern, in the 80s we used to say career girls. I don't know what we say in 2019, but
No, don't say
don't say that.
Career
I'm
girls
saying
are not prostitutes.
Oh, Jesus.
In 2019, you talk about a career girl, you're talking about like Hunts Point.
Okay, no, we
prostitute.
don't want that. That's not what we mean. Professional women. They're
Yes.
saying,
Yes.
oh my God, professional women equals prostitute?
All of that.
I
The
can't.
modern woman.
The modern woman.
So in the 20s, you would say the flapper. So maybe it's time to bring that back. The flappers, the modern woman of
See, I think
2019.
clappers, I think of strippers. Because clappers. I
Yeah,
can't.
never mind.
Anyways,
Women in 2019.
Yes, the men are complaining. They're saying that the women are not domesticated enough, or that they're confused as to what their role is as men. They're like, okay, does she want me to open the door for her? Does she want me to pull out the chair? Because some women actually get offended. Like, no, I can do it myself. Leave, I don't need you to do that.
Yeah.
So it's a little off-putting for a lot of men because they don't really know where they stand in a relationship. And as I was saying earlier, I like that idea of chivalry. I like to be treated as what I know to be a woman. But am I wrong for that, Emmanuel?
You're not wrong. I think that the problem comes from men not understanding who it is that they're dating. So like if you're dating someone that you know is more modern and has a more progressive way of thinking, then that is not the person to hold the door for. Or that, I mean, you do it from time to time, right?
Yeah.
But doing it all the time also takes away from that woman's independence.
But don't you
And-
think that a man would, like, especially an alpha male, would feel like threatened by someone like that?
They do, and that's why those types of relationships don't work
They
out.
don't work.
No. So you have to find someone that's compatible with you. You know, like if you like to go to a restaurant as a woman and not pay the bill, you need to find you a man that is going to pay the bill every time.
And see, you know what? For me, it's like in the beginning of the relationship, I and I guess this is from things that my mother taught me, was like, I like to give my part. So like if it's our first date, I kind of want to just go Dutch on the bill because I don't want the guy to feel like I owe him anything, and I definitely don't want him to think that I'm after him because of his money, or as we call it, dating for dinner, which apparently
that's a
like
conversation, and that's a conversation that should be had. The problem with people now is that they don't communicate. So your expectations, like if we're on a date, right? I don't know you from anywhere. So how am I going to assume that you like things to be done a certain way without me expressing like my interest in getting to know that, or without you telling me? Like, I'm not going to assume.
You're not going to know. And people don't talk anymore. It's like
People don't
everything's
talk.
texting, and especially with online dating, you're sending all these messages, but you still really don't know that person.
Right.
Like, there's
So,
something to be said about body language and just looking someone in their eye and having an actual conversation with
and
them.
I think that that's where most relationships are successful, right? Where you're able from the beginning to communicate and just see what the other person likes.
See what they like.
See what they don't like. And then how do you go from there? I think that's the biggest blurred line, though.
That's the biggest blur.
That's why we have so many singles out here. Because even
You think
people,
so?
yes, people don't know what they want. They're confused. So they're always just figuring out and assuming things without really knowing
And letting
the
society
truth.
tell them what they should want.
So they're living based on society, even on like social media. Think about what people build up in their heads,
yeah,
right?
of
Based
what a woman
on,
should be, or what a man should be, or what
Right.
a relationship should be.
or what you should be as an individual.
Interesting.
Like when I look at my social media and I'm looking at other gay men, I always see perfect chiseled bodies, always at the gym. I mean, I'm pretty normal looking for a man. Maybe above average, but you know, like I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those Instagram models.
You're not.
But in my head, I'm always like, oh, I gotta be like that.
But you're humble. Like Emmanuel's very humble. Like I think he's
Oh,
adorable.
God.
He's so cute. So Nate, you got you a real one. He's so adorable, but he's humble. He's not like out here, you know.
Yeah, I'm not
primping
ostentatious.
For Instagram. You don't even really post. He doesn't post on Instagram.
No, I don't.
Same pic from like 2 years ago, but you know, and I like that. Like I think that that's a good quality to have. Humility, which a lot of people do not have. Like this narcissism, out of control.
Killer.
It's out of control, and I think that also is destroying a lot of relationships because there's a lot of people who, I'm not gonna say they feel like they deserve more than what they should have, but I just think people have an inflated sense of importance.
Yeah, it's all about that, like,
You know what I mean?
self-awareness that people don't have it. So how could you possibly want to be with someone who doesn't even know who they are?
You
Like
know
if you're
who you
dating a
are.
woman, you're a man or a woman dating a woman, they don't have their identity down. How are you going to continue to be in that
How are you
relationship?
going to continue to do that?
We should get Chanel on the show.
Absolutely. No, it is a crisis. We're talking about this narcissistic personality disorder, which I think is being buttressed with the internet and social media,
Yeah.
and people just living fake lives.
And
on
it's also like
Instagram.
that paranoia as well, to have to live up to these standards that are so out of reach a lot of times, you know?
Outreach.
It does a lot to your own
It
self-esteem.
does. And people are only posting the good. They're not posting when they're in the bedroom crying, you know, because they can't pay their rent.
Or they're not
because
posting the bank account,
the bank account.
right? They're not.
You got 37 cents, man.
Yeah, but you
flossing
would never
on
know that,
Instagram.
right? You're flossing on Instagram. I wonder if that's somebody's Instagram name.
Flossing on Instagram.
I'm flossing on
Instagram.
Instagram.
I'm sure.
But it has a lot to do with like what society is feeding us, how we're feeding back into society. You know, like
I
it's
know
excessive.
It's excessive, and I know the effects of it because I lived with a narcissist for 6 years. I didn't really realize what it was until after I got out of the relationship, and basically this person was offended that I was so independent and that I did not need him. I allowed him to do some of the things because I knew that he needed it as a man to feel valued or validated. So I allowed him to do certain things.
And you
for me.
probably stayed longer than you needed
stayed longer than
because
I
you
needed
felt
to.
like your role as a woman was to be there and
Yes.
stay there and like try to live it through, right?
to try to stick it out.
But in 2019, like we no longer abide by the same
No.
codes.
We don't, and I'm not afraid to admit he was a much better cook than I was, so he would do it and he would take pride in it. But then as the relationship started coming to a close, he would like make fun of me, like, oh, I can cook better than you. You know, what woman doesn't know how to cook? So it was some dish that he wanted that
Oh,
was,
God.
it was a Spanish dish. I'm like, sir, I'm not Spanish. I'm not Hispanic. I don't know how to make this particular dish that you're asking me to make. So he's from New York. I'm from
He knew how to
Michigan.
make it?
He knew how to make it because most of his girlfriends were Spanish prior to me. So it was like, well, what woman doesn't know how to make this, and what, you know? So
What was it?
oh gosh, it was some type of a rice with not. Okay,
Was it
I
with
don't wanna say the
seafood?
name. Yeah, it had like octopus and all this different
Yeah,
stuff. in it. I don't
yeah.
remember what the name of it
Paella,
was.
probably.
Maybe.
Right.
Sorry.
I don't know how to make that, and I'm Hispanic,
Sorry.
but I'm also vegetarian. So
Today.
right. I just yeah. But there's nothing wrong with that, you know. Like I think that it's healthy in a relationship to have balance.
Balance.
And as a Libra, like I'm all about the balance. You know, like you want a woman that can jumpstart a car or change her own tire.
And see,
you
things
know?
like that, I have no desire. Like I learned how to change a tire in driver's ed, but I don't want to change a tire. Like,
But if you needed to, Shirley, you would do it, right?
I probably would call AAA.
I mean, you can. But what if you're in the middle of nowhere
I'm good in
and
the middle. I still call AAA.
you still go?
Because
Okay.
I don't know.
Thank
you know,
God
you know,
for
part of it
AAA.
is a lack of confidence. Like I don't feel confident in my ability. I feel like the will would be loose, and I probably like wouldn't do it right. And
Right.
I'd rather just.
But there are
pay.
women that wouldn't mind doing it.
Yes, and that's
You know.
okay. That is okay. So that woman that wants to, you know, change the tire and the oil should not be, you know.
Women's liberation paved the way for those women.
Women's
They really
lib.
did. Women's lib. So there's nothing wrong with crossing over a line that you think is there. There's nothing wrong with taking on a role that is traditionally held by men when
Yeah.
you're a woman. I feel like there's nothing wrong with that.
Not
You know,
at
and
all.
because I am a homosexual man, like I feel like I straddle lines all day long.
All day.
So I don't really know lines. And people at work make fun of me. They're like, "Damn, you just don't give
I don't care.
any regard to any limit or border.
That's
Like
how
you
it
just
should
go with
be.
it, right?"
That's how it should be. People are too
Sometimes, I
uptight.
mean, yeah, like this whole PC in 2019 is a thing of the past. No,
I
it's not.
agree.
Like I think it's necessary, but
And some, yeah.
in some regards, right? But there's nothing wrong with crossing the line
And
from
know
time
your
to time.
audience. Know who, like you said, know who you're dealing with. Communicate what's acceptable, what's not acceptable,
Yep.
so that you know people aren't as offended and uptight. But we are actually out of time this time, for real.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. We are really out of time. But thank you so much for joining us. This has been fun.
I know. I love sitting up here and talking crap with Shirley. You know.
That's how we do this. But please make sure you check us out again on Instagram at New York, which is NY comment section. And you can join us on Facebook Live. You can also look at our YouTube channel. And until then, we will see you next week.
Bye.
God bless my haters. God bless fake hoes. God bless these haters. Cause God only knows that. All I do is get it. All I do is